Hi, and welcome to this webinar on the bid and proposal next practices. The primary purpose of having this webinar is within our community of bid and proposal management. We have been seeing that we are following a set of existing best practices, which may differ from organization to organization, but then with the changing dimensions of different uh, forces like the business models, the different types of engagement, the different types of project delivery, and the different technology challenges, and even the different technology innovations which are happening around us. We see that as a bid and proposal manager, we also need to align our the practices which we follow with these changing paradigms. So we thought that we have this webinar in which we discuss what are the forces which actually are working towards these changes, what are the forces which are these changes, how are they impacting us, and what we need to do to see that we are the proposals which we create, the bids which we manage, the way we manage them, we take the leverage of these technological innovations, the different engage changing business model. We address the different changing business models, and we are aligned with the customers changing needs of from a business perspective, from a technology perspective, from an engagement perspective, from every perspective. That's it. So we need to find a solution to that, and we have a thriving community. We have a vibrant community where we exchange our thoughts, we exchange our experiences. But with all these members together in this community, we also see that there is a strength, or that we can really get together and innovate based on our experiences, based on our challenges, based on our constraints, the new, and again the knowledge of what we have in the collaborative knowledge between us as a community. We can identify what are the best practices, what should be the next practices which we should follow. And ideally this is needed because we all are oriented towards a growth. We all have a growth plan, whether at an individual level, as a professional, at a professional level, whether it's a growth of the role, growth of the scope of work which we deliver, the growth of the value which we deliver, or the growth of the organization where we serve. So there is a growth plan. Now, how do we, if we follow the same practices and the market forces change, we will not be able to deliver that growth, or we will not be able to deliver that value. So how do we change that, and how do we get into that growth mode? And definitely this has to start. We obviously we cannot huddle up, get into one room and come out with a solution for that. We need to have conversations. Need to have the conversations around the problems which we face, around the challenges which we face, around the changing structures, around the changing expectations from our customers, from our organizations, and then see that okay, how do we address them. So we need to have much more conversations, and also we need to act upon them. We need a conversation may need lead to a thought, a idea, but then that idea needs to take has to be implemented. It needs to We need to lead it to a fruition. So what can be the possible action plans? So that's basically what is the agenda today. So I will set the context by discussing on these points which you see on the left hand side, and then we will open up the discussion forum, and then we can discuss on the community model, on the growth plan, on the conversations, and the future action plans as a community. So this is a fact. We all are experiencing this, and we cannot deny about this, that we are experiencing an impact of both disruptions and exponential technologies. Now be it artificial intelligence and robotics, be it machine learning, be it deep learning. Now, be it blockchain, new technologies are emerging, and these all are having an impact on every, not only in the bid and proposal management. It is having an impact in the overall business, in the overall business model by itself, on the overall business by itself. And similarly, and as it has an impact on the business, it will have an impact on the service delivery or on the organizations also, business organizations also. So how is artificial intelligence and robotics or any other emerging technology or exponential technology going to impact the bid and proposal management? We have so many processes which are repetitive. We do so many things which are repetitive. Can those processes be automated to a level by using artificial intelligence? Can they be used? Can we use software agents or robots to do something, do things like that? And it is happening around us. It is happening now. It is happening in one of the other domain, in one any other domain, and tomorrow it will be we can we take that and bring it to our domain and see how we can utilize it. Now, whether it is a very small example can be taking a bid no bid decision. Now, a bid no bid decision depends on multiple parameters. Now, those parameters are based on the context of the RFP and the context of the capacity of the organization. Now, if we can create, if not the final decision, at least a base level screening of the opportunities can be done through artificial intelligence, through a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning or any other technologies. The templatizations, the creation of content from yesterday I was reading about some research project which which is creating content based on artificial intelligence. They're using artificial intelligence for creating content, and it is difficult even to say that this content has not been written by a human. It has been written by a robot. So can this be done in the sense of some sort of a boilerplate test? We know 30 to 40% of our content in our proposals are boilerplate content. Now, can that be done? Maybe today we are doing pulling it out from one proposal or from a repository and positioning it or placing it in as placemats in our standard proposals about us and all those stuff which we do. Can they be done using artificial intelligence or machine learning? Yes, possibly they can be done. We are not looking at who will do it or what system will do it, but if that is done, then what is our role? What should we, if it is freeing us some amount of time, then what should be our role? Can we use that time, that freed up time, can we use that capacity for a more meaningful purpose, like more creative or strategic thinking about the win theme or the strategy or the win strategy or the proposal content or the structure of the proposal content? So that's something, that's the impact. So whatever practices we are following today, what can be in the next practice when these technologies play, these exponential technologies play a role in can or become predominant or rather become a practice. So with the technology changes, changes, how do the practices change? That's something we need to understand. Second thing we are seeing is a mass globalization. Today we are not limited by geographies. Today we are not limited by any range of we are bidding all around the world. Now, how does this mass globalization impact us, open new avenues for us? And we are doing that today, but how can we expand it more? Now let us look at the models, models where business models where we are seeing freelancers are bidding for opportunity. Now you don't really need to know where the freelancer is based, but they are still bidding for opportunities and they're doing the job. Now those markets like that, if they open up, even and eventually they will open up, such markets will come into existence. When such markets come into existence, how are we going to, what is going to be our model of responding to bids in such marketplaces? So that is something which you need to understand and we need to be prepared about. Third thing we can see is the type of problems. The type of problems which we are seeing, basically, when we are responding to an RFP, we are providing a solution to a problem. A RFP is a problem statement. Whether that problem is for a business gain, or it's a problem for on a business operations, or is it a problem for a business innovation or transfer change, there is a problem, and that problem we are trying to solve through our proposals. But the nature of the problems which we are seeing and which will emerge, they are going to be complex. We are not going to see much bigger problems or many problems, typical problems like managed services or application management service or application support services or custom building an application. We are seeing different types of transformational problems. We are seeing different types of digital makeover problems. We are seeing digitalization problems. Different types of problems are coming. How are we geared to use? How are is our problem solving method going to be remain the same that we go through the RFP requirements, we see, we put in a bunch of solution architects, or we pull in some existing solution which we have, our past experience some we have, or we are going to create a entire different we are going to have a different approach for creating those solutions. And even if we are creating a different if I have an approach, what will be our way of presenting the solution? Is it going to be a standard diagrams, pictures, diagrams, and verbatim text, or we are going to create a prototype, or it is going to be a augmented reality or a virtual reality based solution which we will be presenting? We do not know, but these are possible. Today, builders are building augmented reality based buildings before even they start digging 1 inch and start building building the apartment. The same thing will happen somewhere in our area of where we are building technology solutions. Video proposals are already in place. So whether we're addressing the problem or presenting the solution of the problem, the practices related to that will happen, will change. So what can be the next practices which we can prepare for, which we can look at and address those? And then finally, the business models. We are seeing different business models emerging, innovative business models emerging. The shared economy is becoming a thing of the past. SaaS, PaaS, iPaaS. These are different models as a service. Everything is coming out as a service. Everything is being expected as a service. The outcome-based models, even the outcome-based models is fading away. People are coming out with different models. Now, how these different innovative business models going to impact the way we manage our bids, the way we write our solution, build our solution, the way we price our solutions, the way we look at the competition, the way we look at the entire our customer, that entire thing is going to be impacted. And how are we gearing up for those changes? That's something which we need to think about. So the two attributes basically of these exponential technologies which is happening around us is that they are either deceptive and they are disruptive. Deceptive in the sense that we do not know the day when they are going to take over and they will become the mainstream. We do not know that. Just a couple of years back, did we know that we would be calling a cab from our mobile? We would have to walk to a taxi stand or hail a cab passing on the road, get into that. He had to put in a meter. Did we know that what would be the fare? Did we have a choice of what type of car we want to ride for a cab? Now the changed business model, the changing of technologies, they brought in this Ola and Uber, and today we are the entire business is changed, the entire experience is changed, and it is so deceptive that we cannot even say that I started Uber from this particular date, or by I threw away my existing mobile and I bought a new mobile, and from that day I started using Uber. It is so deceptive, it has become, and today that is the own way we are doing things, and these changes, such changes will keep on happening with us, and they are disruptive. One business model is disrupting the other business model. The change, the way, the impact of the food logistics business, how now you do not need to go to a restaurant. You may go to a restaurant for a different purpose, but to have the food of a restaurant, you don't need to go to a restaurant. You just need to pick up an app, Zomato, Swiggy, and order for it, or Uber or Ola, and order for it. It has disrupted the business, existing business. It has increased the business for so many. It has disrupted the business for so many. Those who are not on that on Zomato or Uber, they are losing customers because people are not ordering. They have to wait for people to walk in. If people are not walking in, they are losing business. And those who have moved to that platform, they are increasing their business. So there is a disruption happening. And the four things, which are four Ds, which are driving this deception and disruption, they are the digitization, dematerialization, demonetization, and democratization. And these are happening around us. And I don't need to explain this. We are all experiencing this. Digitalization, everything becomes an information. And when everything becomes an information in a digital form, it is become shareable. It becomes accessible. And when it becomes accessible from one single tool, or one single platform or tool, other platforms or other tools or other platforms, they are becoming irrelevant. So the FM radio or the microphone recorder or the camera, all these functions now have been converged into the mobile phone, and all these things, the calculator or the video player, the video camera, these are all becoming irrelevant now. So these have disappeared, and they are getting consolidated into one single device, the mobile phone. And as these are happening, it is demonetizing. The prices are the cost of the products and their services, they are decreasing. They are decreasing significantly. A few years back, we had to buy a music CD of 20 songs or 14 songs or 10 songs or something, and we had to pay for all the 10 songs, even if we didn't like 5 of them or 10 of them, or only liked only one song, but still we had to buy that CD. Today on iTunes, you can go and buy a single song for less than even 100 rupee or a few rupees. Or you can even subscribe and download a n number of songs for a period. And the same thing has happened with bookstores or long distance call, the ISD calls, and everything what we see, whether it's iTunes or Craigslist or eBay, they have demonetized and brought down the cost of the products and the services so significantly. So similarly, this is going to have an impact in all other services also. And finally, democratization. Now it has become accessible and affordable. Now when it becomes accessible and affordable, at one side it is increasing the market space, at the same side it is increasing the competition also. It is opening up the market. So how do you prepare to bid? How do you prepare to compete? How do you prepare proposals in such a market segment? We need a different set of the next practices. the same practices which we are following from the industrial age, and we have moved from the industrial age to the technology or the information technology age, from the information technology age to the knowledge management age or the knowledge age, and now we are living in a customer experience age, and we are still following that linear process of the best practices followed from there. Today, when we are living in a world where so much change is the most constant thing which is happening all around us, our processes are so linear from the industrial age. How do we bring in that agility? Businesses are looking at towards business agility. We are changing, everything is changing. How do we make our processes agile? What practices do we follow? And all these things happening together around us, this is creating, at one side it is creating a disruptive stress. We are perplexed in how do we manage this, whether it is we are perplexed at the highest executive level of management, but it is definitely going to percolate down to every level, whether it is a strategic level or the tactical level, a tactical and operational level, or at the execution level. So every level we are going to have this disruptive stress unless we are prepared with the next set of practices. At the same time, it is creating disruptive opportunities. If we are riding, no, the question is either I am ahead of the wave or I am riding on the wave, or I am waiting for the tsunami to come and be swept up by the tsunami. And that has happened. It has happened with Kodak, it happened with Barnes and Noble, and so many other businesses. And all these large corporations, however they are, they have to compete in this such collaborative economy. And in this collaborative economy, we are partnering, we are adding new partners, we are forming new, we are getting formed new associations, and we are partnering, and we are competing in that. So, and the entire model of collaboration itself is going to change. It is not no more collaboration within functional units within the organization. It is collaboration across the economy, across the globe, which is happening and which is bound to happen. So, how do we leverage these changing paradigms for solving future problems? Now, why future problems? Because if we have to define the role of a bid and proposal manager by responding to a RFP, what are we doing? We are actually solving a problem. A business problem. A customer has a business problem. Our clients have a business problem, and they need our expertise. They need our support. They need us to provide them those services. So we are actually providing them a solution. We are solving a problem. And these problems can come from any of these business domain, whether it is infrastructure or energy or it's enterprise, healthcare, retail, everywhere there is a problem, and every domain, business domain, is getting impacted by these disruptions and these exponential technologies. So obviously they will be having problems, and we need to provide solutions to these problems. And to address those problems, we need to gear ourselves up with the new things or with the new challenges, with the new things. And we cannot do that by following the existing practices. So we need to have the next set of practices. And this can happen. And this is the experience which we all have, we have been having throughout the ages, that any sustainable model, whether it is for professional growth or whether it is for a social growth or any social development, it happens, it cannot happen in isolation, or doesn't happen by one single initiative. It has to happen through multiple ways. And those key things are the three key forces which play a role are education, innovation, and community. Through education, we can learn about the new problem solving skills. And this does not mean that we have to go out and invent. Possible, many of these are already existing. These are being used in many other areas. Take an example of how design thinking is being used by all these companies, whether it is Apple or whether it is Google or Microsoft, how they are using design thinking to create new products, how they are using design thinking to solve new problems. Can we use design thinking to solve problems in our proposals, to create proposals which address those problems? Can we use creative thinking skills to build solutions? We are talking about experiences. We are living in an age of experiences. We judge a feature or a product based on the experience we have. Can we use the practices which are being followed, creative practices, thinking practices which are being followed in the user experience domain, like persona analysis, like journey mapping? Can we use those creative thinking skills in our proposals? Collaboration management. Today our collaboration management means delegation, or our collaboration is delegation. Like we assign somebody and we get it back, that we get a finish. That is the form of collaboration which we are using. It's a workflow collaboration. But can we use collaboration like where we are putting in the entire organization together, or even the partners of the organizations existing together to create a solution, rather than delegating a part and piece for them to do? Can we do that together? And to manage such a level of collaboration, what sort of collaboration skills do we need? We are addressing problems coming from the emerging technologies. We need to provide AI based solutions, we need to provide machine learning solutions, or we need to provide deep analytics solutions. If we don't understand those technologies, how do we produce? Or even if we are not architecting the solution, at least from a bid manager level, from a proposal writer level, from a proposal manager level, at least we need a exposure of those technologies. And as the market is opening up today, we are not sure about who is going to be our real competition. With whom are we going to compete? Whether are we going to compete with another player having the same service portfolio or same type of service we are paying, or we are competing with somebody who is going to create an entire disruption, which is going to deliver a much larger value, a value which we have not even expected? What sort of competitive intelligence we are gathering? Are our best practices good enough to deliver those? Can we only do a bidder comparison matrix and do that, or we need some other types of research, other types of competitive intelligence, commercial and financial skills? Can we will do these models, existing models of fixed bid, or time and material, or cost plus models, commercial models? Are these the only models which are going to work in a SaaS based, or or anything as a service based engagement? What sort of business commercial model are we going to engage? What sort of return of investment or payback period can we expect? What are the models we need to apply over there? So we need to understand this, or we need to think about this. We may not have the answers for them for everything today, but if we don't start walking towards it, if we don't start gearing or preparing, as I said, it is going to be deception, and one day we will be it will be like a tsunami for us. So all these things we need to learn. So education has to play a bigger role here, has to play a continuous role over here. Innovation. Now, innovation is happening all around us. We are talking about it. It's the most talked about thing for the last 5 years or 10 years. We are hearing innovation. We are seeing innovation. But can we really see what is the innovation actually happening in the way we are doing our jobs? other than automating, or other than creating repositories, or other than sharing on the click of a button, sharing information with others in the click of a button. What sort of innovation are we doing in our jobs? Is there a scope of innovation? What sort of innovation can we do from a customer experience perspective, from a marketplace intelligence perspective, from engagement perspective? Today we know 70%, 60% of the perception of the customer is formed even before they about a service provider, even before they publish the RFP. Now, how are they doing it? They're doing it through different engagement models, whether it's the social media engagement, whether it's the conference engagement, and any other digital engagement. They're forming their perceptions. So how do we engage with the customer? Even how do we actually analyze? A lot of this competitive analysis or competitive intelligence can be generated through social media or professional media engagement. Now, how do we do that? The value proposition, the standard value propositions which we go on presenting in our proposals, are they unique or they are the standard? And are they creating any differentiate? Are they differentiating our proposal from our competitors' proposal, or we are following the same thing? And then we say the customer is only focused towards the price. Obviously, the customer is focused towards the price because he doesn't see any other differentiator between our proposal and the competitor's proposal. Any value proposition, unique value proposition. So, is there a way we can innovate to create unique value propositions? Can we create unfair advantages in our services, in our products, which will actually make us unique, which will actually make us, which will be our strongest differentiator, kill the competition? Now, these are things which we need to innovate within our practice, within our job. And where do we do that? We cannot do that in isolation within our organization or as an individual. We have to do that within the community, because that is where we are getting the collective experience. That is where we can have a collaborative and social learning. We can empower the community to think about the future, something which is beyond our regular job. We can empower ourselves to learn about new things which are coming up. And we can do this through different things, by having events, having local communities, doing activities, meetups, and we can create even a body which can actually look at the future and prepare for the future, rather than reacting to when the future comes, when the disruption comes. A sort of a exponential advisory board which is looking at the future, looking at other domains, looking at the best practices happening, and build the next practices within our community. And this is happening. We are seeing that even technology, the disruptive opportunity of the way technology is playing a role. We are, and it is empowering individuals even to the level of the kids. Kids today are so empowered with the mobile, playing with the mobile phones, looking into the information on YouTube videos and other things. They feel so much empowered. They know so much. Now, why can't we use these tools, technologies available around us to empower ourselves and prepare ourselves for facing the new technology, new things which are coming up? So there is definitely a scope, and a much needed scope, and it is to prepare for the future. It is to prepare to face the tsunami which is coming our way, so that we can ride over it. We can ride over the wave rather than being swept away by the tsunami. Remember, the dinosaur even was the most powerful animal in its age, but it could not, it became non-existential because it could not change, it could not get over that tsunami which came. So unless we want ourselves to remain as those dinosaurs and be swept away, we need to get prepared and address these changes, be prepared for these changes, and put in our efforts together as a community to get into this. And that's what exactly is my thought as a community. And we have discussed this within the community. And now I think we should open up and we all should discuss this together on what sort of activities we can do, what sort of sharing we can do, what sort of learnings we can do as a community, and so that we are prepared with the changes, with the disruptions, with the emerging technologies to address these things. So let us stop over here and I would open up for discussion now.